So before the premiere happens, which is in, I don't know, 50 minutes, 45 minutes, there's a video premiering. Hope you guys enjoy that. I made the best of what I had on that situation, but I have a new video that I'm working on that I'm trying something completely different, and I need some feedback from you guys. So let me know. It's not this video, it'll be the next one after it. Let me know how you like this. I'm going to do a quick demo. I just want to discuss something that I seen on a channel and from a guy that I enjoy his content. I think he's really smart, and he kind of brought up a topic that I figure this little demo setup that I have here is a pretty good system to use to kind of discuss this. What's up, Ground Pounder? So there's a premiere video. I'm gonna say it one more time. Premiere video here in about 50 minutes. Hopefully you guys can catch that. But my next video, I'm doing something kind of out of the box on for me. So let me know. I try to give a little backstory and do a little bit more informative kind of stuff. So you guys will just let me know what you think. You chilling? Right on. Let me know what you guys think in the comments on that one. But that's not the premiere for tonight. I'll probably have that one. I'm trying to get that done and have it up by like Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So the video on Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll make a community post. Maybe you guys can let me know what's up, if you like it or not. So the question for today, and something that I seen on Zacchaeus' channel. Zacchaeus is a very bright guy, and he brought up something. If we were going to negative rig this piece here, off my hand, straight down, our rigging point's right here. Does it change anything to hook it up here as opposed to up here? So I think in his video, and I will, let me see if I can do something. Does it allow me to comment? No. Shoot. Okay, well, what I'll do is I'll put up, well, if you check out Zacchaeus' new video he just put up, the minute marker is like 29:33 is the timestamp. At about 29:30, he discusses that it doesn't matter when you're rigging if you hook it up here or if you hook it up here. So my neighbor is screaming at the top of his lungs right now. So I get what Zacchaeus is talking about. 29:30. Yeah. Yeah, the timestamp that Ground Pounder just put up. What's up, James? Does it change anything hooking up on different spots on a piece when you're negative rigging? So let's do this. Let's have this here. I can move this over into the camera a bit. Yeah, okay. So you guys can see everything here. So if we were negative rigging this piece from here, there's our rigging point. Does it change anything to hook up here to here? And Zacchaeus kind of brought this question up. He says that the distance traveled is, this is a hard topic to kind of discuss, but I'm going to try to break it down to where the distance, what's up, Chris? How are you, brother? The distance that the piece will fall, if I hook it up here or if I hook it up here, it's still going to reach the same height when it comes down, unless it goes flips multiple times. If it just goes end over, and I'll show you on this display, it will be at the same height if you hook it here or if you hook it here. But that's not the only thing that you got to realize is there are some differences and some things to watch out for when you start to hook in different spots and lengthen that or shorten it. So that's what I want to discuss, and I want to show you that as far as height and the distance that the piece moves, it's less. Or no, it's the same from here to hooking up here. Even though you introduced another couple feet, the piece will only go down so far. And I'll show you that on this, but I want to show you the things to watch out for, and I want to try to keep with comments because after I turn the phone, it's going to be really hard to keep up with them. He said it was the distance where you cut the block or something. Yeah, I'll show you, Chris. Check this out. Let's see, the further away the knot, further it drops. Actually, not, ground pounder. I know that it seems that your brain would tell you that. Same thing. That the further the knot is away, the further the piece is going to fall. But check this out. It actually doesn't. And Zach was looking for a situation or a scenario that he could demonstrate this. And that's when I was getting ready to throw this out. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I could use this little display thing that we've been doing our rigging displays on and show this perfect. And we'll mark the rope and everything. So, put you guys like right here. I want to make sure I get all of it in the camera. And it's very clear. Okay. So, we have our rigging set up. The way it works, move these out of the way. So it goes pretend bollard, which is a little ring, to another bollard, or to another ring up here. You can pretend like it's a pulley, ring, whatever it is you want to pretend it is. That's what it is. So I'm actually going to use this to lock it off. There's a little screw here, and I can lock the rope off, and then we'll drop the piece, and then we'll mark on the rope how far it made it down the rope, and we'll mark where the piece landed on the tree. And I'll show you that they go the same. Check this out. So we'll bring it up here. The piece goes on like this. So first, let's hook it up really low, like right there. And because I got this weird little like clip thing, I'm gonna have to wrap it twice so it stays on that bite, doesn't move anywhere else. But that's okay. We'll wrap every one of them twice, that way it stays the same. Okay, so we're hooked up. This would be your setup. Okay? Now what I'll do is I'm going to tighten this. That way I'm not letting any rope out. You can't say that I changed anything. You can see that it's under tension because the bottom ring here is extended all the way out, like off the ground now. So there's like a gap. So if I let it go, we're going to measure where this piece ends up on the log here. Okay, so let's take, I have a blue marker. It'd be a little easier to read. So if we were to mark it, it's right across, so it's like right here. Does that show up on camera? It should, yeah, it does. Okay, so there's our mark. It's right below this little stub. But having it close, we were able to use less rope is what the trick to this is going to be. So how far the piece made it down the rope, let's mark where the piece, like how much rope was used, or I mean we could mark either one of them. Let's just mark where it made it down the rope. So our mark on the rope is going to be like right there, and I'll lower it back down so you can see it. And that's stretched out. It's right at that mark, and I'll show you the mark as soon as I unhook the piece here. The lighting isn't the best, but okay. So on the rope here, here's our mark. Right there. See the blue? So we used that much rope as a bit of a measurement. Let's go with like the side of this length of this board, and go there. So we weren't quite all. We're like 6/8 of the way there, 6/7, 5/6, something like that. So now let's hook the piece up to that next union where we had hooked it here. Now let's hook it up here and watch. It's still gonna go to that same spot on this, which is really weird. I know your brain would tell you different, but your brain is telling you something and it's right. And that's what I want to talk with you guys about, because there are dangers to doing this. So we go to hook up. We're going to go right there to that union, wrap around twice. So we're using the same amount of rope up each time wrapping. Actually, we probably used more rope on the first one because it's skinnier up here to make 2 wraps on the fatter end, you know. But now we tighten it back up to get it right here. Okay. Now I want to tighten this again and anchor it off. Once again, this is anchored off. This piece has got a gap in it. Now watch. I'm going to drop it. Hang on. Mon, you got to stop, dude. Okay, so there's where your trouble lies. If you get to the tipping point, everything's thrown out. So that doesn't, now it's way below the mark. I gotta shut this dog up. Lay down. So that's the scary thing. When it tips, now you're twice as far as it ever moved before. It's almost 3 times as far because of the way you lifted that up. Now, if we bring it to the point that it doesn't tip, it's always going to go the same distance. So we're pretty close. We're going to drop down 1 more union so it doesn't tip, and then watch, it'll land right at that blue mark every time. And it doesn't matter where you really bring this at up the piece, it's still going to fall right there at that blue mark every time, because the piece is only as long as it is, but your anchor, when you flip, is when it changes. Watch. So right there. Now let it drop. Now if we straighten this piece out, it's still anchored. It's all hooked up in it. And I'll bring the camera close so you can see. Look. There's our blue mark right there. And it is like exact with it. And we're 3 times as far. I mean, we were down here with the first one. The first connection we did like right there. Then we moved it all the way to here, and the piece still fell the same. So that's not an issue. We found that out. And the marker on the rope, the same too. Lacking a little, well, I guess a little. It's a little bit of a difference. But you introduce more rope into the system. Now, let's measure that out next to this other one like we did. And let's see if we introduced more rope into the system by moving that up. And the scary thing is, when you introduce more rope, you're going to get more stretch. It's going to cause, you know, probably more shock load. I mean, I don't know the technical aspect of that, but the more rope there is, the more shock load I would imagine there would be. So where's our first one? Oh, yeah, but it dropped another foot, so it's going to drop double that. It moved another foot, so it moved a foot on this side, and it'll move a foot, like in theory, a foot on this, a foot on that, because you moved it a foot up. So yeah, I moving that piece, like I said, it's always going to end up in that same place, because the piece has only got to move so far. If you have it locked off and you move it up in height, then think about this. If you have this piece here, again, let me move you back. Here's the best way I could explain it. If you have the piece here and you anchor it, okay, it now drops off there. It drops off right at our blue marker. Right at that blue marker again. Okay? So the thing about this is, if it's sitting here and we move this anchor up, we also move it up from where it falls. So if we move it up a foot here, it lifts that piece up a foot. Like it's in like rope. So like we took that, we moved it up to there. When it comes over, it has more rope in the system. That's the only thing, is you now have a greater distance of rope, but you're not falling a greater distance. It's always going to be right there at that blue line. I'll show you again. That was the bottom. And let's just move it all the way. Let's see if you could keep the piece. Like if we hook it, let's go past halfway, but I'll rig it off and then I'll stand it up. Let's see if the blue mark is at the same. Okay, we got it way up there now. All right. Anchor it off. It's anchored. Now drop it. Okay, it flipped. So I don't know how that one balanced better than the other one, but oh, okay, no, it didn't. That end's supposed to be up. So now if we took this and stood it up the way it's supposed to be, it's right at that blue mark again. Even though we moved it up so much, like I think the rule will probably still apply if I move it all the way to the very tip. So let's go tip. That's the furthest distance that we could move this thing. Now you got to think about, the piece is going to land like this, but it actually has to be lifted all the way up here. So it's going to look like it moved further. But if the piece flips, and that's the one thing I don't see anybody really discuss, if the piece flips, all those rules no longer apply. And you now have hit something below you. You don't have the drop length. So, all right, so there, we drop it off. Now, I'll take this piece after it settles, and we'll take it, stand it up, and it is right at that blue mark. So I know that's a weird, it's actually a difficult thing for me to figure out a simplified way to explain. But the first thing I did when he started discussing it, and I seen him discuss it, I'm like, that's kind of interesting. I got to check that. The thing of it is, when it's hooked low, you maybe have this much rope that's falling in to the system and stretching on this side. Then you have the full length over here is always going to be there because it goes down to a bollard. So this one, small section of rope, only that much height. As it comes over, bam, it stretches that little section of rope. Now if you extend that and go up higher, you now are dropping a section of rope in like this, which is then going to stretch more. So I would think, as far as shock loading goes, and like the way how much weight the system weighs it may vary a little bit when you start to move that rigging point. So the point of impact where the actual bite and the holding point is going to change some things. What's up, Brandon? Hard to grasp, but you made it easy to understand. Yeah, thanks, Chris. Right on. That was the whole point. It's a really difficult thing to explain. So the problem is that you're doing, the piece is changing orientation, and that's where it plays with your mind and makes you think the more rope I add, the further it's going to fall down. When in theory, it's not. The only thing that's changing when you change the rigging point here, if you look, the only thing that's actually changing is the amount of rope that you're using here. So if you're hooked up here, you're using about that much rope from the rigging point to it. Now if you're hooked up here, you're now using that much rope, 2 times as much. So this span is always going to stay the same. It goes from the lowering point to the friction device. Here's on this side, the other end is where it's going to change, and depending on how much rope you got, more stretch. So, hope that makes sense. That was the whole point of doing this, and I don't want to run into. I don't. We have 57 people here right now. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, I don't want to step on my own toes as far as the premiere that's getting ready to happen. So I'm gonna let you guys go. I appreciate you guys giving me your time as always. Oh, Billy said, "What's up, Billy?" Not bad. Just enjoying the evening before back at it. Yes, brother. We all gonna go get her done hopefully in the morning. So yeah, I got same situation. I have uh, some yeah, nasty pin oaks to dead wood, and those are always aggravating and slick, and yeah, but it'll be all right. So yeah, the further away the knot is from the ring, the further the rope travels. Yeah, on that one, yes. Yeah, ground pounder. From the rigging point to where the knot is, if you raise your connection point, the only thing you've done is introduce more rope on that section. So the piece is still going to fall as long as it orientates the way that it was supposed to and it goes end over. The piece is always going to fall at the same spot unless it goes end over, then end over again, and that's when you've went past that balancing point. So yeah, that balancing point may be the trick to this though, because you could possibly change some of it. Well, no, you wouldn't get. Yeah, you would get some more height if you could figure out the balancing point, and as it came over, it hit, but then balanced out. But no matter what, I guess it's still going to fall the same distance, and the end of it's going to be down just as far, no matter what. Even if you do a balance stub, chunk of wood, it's still going to stay. It's going to fall a certain distance, and then it may balance itself out. But no matter what, that piece is going to make that much travel, and it's going to cover that much distance no matter what, even if it orientates itself back to being flat afterwards. At some point, it's gonna, you know, it goes a little more dynamic. Oh shoot, let me catch a couple comments. So yeah, so yes, it's way more of slack in the system until it catches. Um, I got one maple, two cedar trees, three oaks, and one pine on. I have 7 willows. I'm just trying to out you right now, Brandon. I actually do though. They're all kind of dead. They'll be fun. Just kind of follow them. Yeah. Brian P, what's going on? Well explained. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. Yeah, as I'm going there, I started to be like, dude, did you just waste your time? Are you about to like learn something in the process of doing it that makes you look like an idiot? That happens sometimes where I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll try to explain this. And then in the middle of it, I figure something else out. So mine's a 3, Brandon. It legit is 2, I swear to God. Like, but it's 2 different ones. Like it's for their family. So one will be a 2-day, the other one will be a day. So say something else and I'll one up it again. So I'm just playing, brother. Hey guys, thank you for hanging out. Anybody who stopped in that's new, thank you for stopping in. There's a premiere coming up in a few minutes. Enjoy it, and I need some feedback. Not on this video, not this live. Well, I need feedback on all of it, but I need some major feedback on how you guys like the format of not the video from today, but I'm gonna put one out Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'm doing some work with it. You guys have to let me know. So I'll catch you next time. Stay safe, and yeah, I'm here if you need a hand. What's up, Kenneth? See you guys.